Right, what I'm going to attempt to do is film a video. We'll see how that goes. I wanted to, I guess, do like a full face with Kimchi products because I have enough for that, except concealer. I don't have concealer, but I mean, really, I don't use concealer all that much, so that's not really too much of a problem for me. Okay, I'm gonna do foundation first. I've prepped my skin, I've just cleansed it and put moisturizer on. I didn't do like most of my full skincare routine because I'm gonna just be washing my face straight after anyway, so I feel like it's just a waste of product. I've got the new Kimchi foundation. I'm looking at myself and my screen and I'm like backwards. It's got like a heart-shaped lid, which is really cute. Glass bottle. If you care about how much is in there, it has 1 fluid ounce, which I think is pretty standard for foundations. When it comes out, it's quite liquidy. I have been using this a little, and my thoughts are it's okay, you know. The shade is yellow for me, obviously. It's probably half a shade to a shade too dark and much too yellow. I got the shade 103L, which I believe they say is for neutral skin tones, but neutral is not yellow, so I'm not sure I would entirely agree with that. I found from using it over the past week or so, it's best applied with a sponge, because the brush, I've got a few different foundation brushes that I really like, and I just find it gets very streaky with the brush, so sponge it is. And this is actually also a kimchi sponge, which, what would I compare it to? I guess it's similar to like a Real Technique sponge. It's quite soft, but it's like the large, I don't know if you're going to be able to see it. It's kind of the large pores. It's not a really fine porous sponge. Like I've also got the Dose of Colors sponge. This is actually my favorite, and I feel like the pores aren't quite as large, but anyway, whatever that means. The thing about this foundation, I have oily skin. I'm very oily, especially my T-zone. I'm not so dehydrated anymore, so I don't get a lot of dry patches and things anymore, but I do still have a bit of dryness like around my nose, which normally does not get accentuated by foundation, but I find that this one in particular does actually emphasize it, or it doesn't sit nicely on it like some others. So because of that, I would say that it's probably not the best for dry skin. And it does dry down matte as well, or like a natural matte. It's not completely matte, but definitely natural, which I quite like. I'm just putting a little bit more. I've used 1 pump, that's 1 3/4 of a pump, I guess, just to kind of finish off my face and kind of go over in some areas. It's kind of a medium to full coverage, I would say. And I kind of have to really get my sponge in there. You can see that. Just to fill in my nose pores. I find I have to do that with all my foundations though. I have a couple of really deep pores and like nose piercing scars that I have to kind of really press the foundation into to get it in there. And that's where you can kind of see the dryness around my nose, hopefully. But it does go away if I kind of pay more attention to it, but just something to note. just gonna bring that down my neck just a little bit. If you see any redness on my neck, it's just because I scratched myself. My neck is really sensitive to being scratched and stuff, so it goes red quite easily. Do my ears a little bit because they're quite red in comparison. Now it may not dry down quite as matte as it actually goes normally, just because it's summer, it's kind of warm, and I turned the fan off so that you wouldn't be able to hear it in the video. So, and maybe a little sweat, a little oils coming through, you know, it's just the way it is. So that's how it's looking. I really hope that you can see this. I've got a couple of pimples, like there's one on my forehead up here. There's one on my chin kind of peeking through. I've got one up here. So it's not a perfect coverage, like you can still kind of see the redness there and a little bit of the redness on my cheeks that's there. But, you know, otherwise I feel like it's pretty good coverage. I find it sits quite nicely on my skin, aside from, you know, the dry patches. Once I kind of get it in there. I have found if you use a brush, you still have to go over it with a sponge. Just to kind of like flatten it out and smooth it out. So that's why I just go straight in with the sponge. So that's that. I don't really have dark circles or anything that I need to cover under my eyes, so I'm not gonna use a concealer. And I kind of brought the foundation up as far as kind of goes, so that's that. I'm gonna prime my eyes and put my eyebrows on because neither of those are Kimchi products. So I'll be back in a sec. Okay, so I've got a couple of palettes from them. I've got the, what's it called, Mango Tango with the colors. It's all matte, which is cute. And then I also have the Kimchi Plastic Tiara collab, which is just nudes, neutrals, kind of everyday. I got them because they were going to be work palettes, but have I used them for work? No, I don't want to talk about it. But I think I'm going to do neutral because I've got a couple of their lipsticks and I'm thinking red or maybe like the orangey, I don't know. Anyway, okay. Yeah, so I like this palette. It is pigmented and blendable and it's, you know, it's pretty. I like the colors, obviously, but I find that a lot of the like pinks, like that pink and the like purpley colors, sorry, it's really hard to do this like back to front. A lot of them look the same on the eye and there's no depth in this. There's no depth. So if you like to be able to do like a deeper outer corner, you can't. But that's fine. Really, that's fine. I'm gonna use which one do I want to use? I usually use this one. Maybe I should use this one. Probably just use a mixture of both. We'll go into this one first. We'll take that one on a blending brush, larger blending brush. Just hope that you can see this. I'm not going to do anything crazy because then I'll be here forever. But it's just kind of a medium brownie, you know, you can see it. So I'm bringing that down reasonably far, just because I like a real smoky smoke air. But if you bring it down too far, it's easy to clean up. You don't have to stress. I take a brush and I'll just take like a skin colory kind of color, like that one, my skin tone, which is extremely pale. And I'll just kind of run that around the edges just to clean it up, and it helps with the blend. So I generally do this with most of my looks, especially like my really blended out ones. I'll use some kind of shade like this, and it makes the blend a little bit more seamless. And you can use like an eyeshadow that's the same color, or I typically will use a powder foundation, but you know, not everybody has that, but most people have got some kind of neutral eyeshadow that will work for them. I'm gonna go in with this one, a bit darker. I'll just go back in with the lighter brown around that, just to help blend that in a little bit more. It makes it a bit more seamless, especially on this eye, because my right eye is usually the stronger of the two when I'm doing both. It just needs a little extra help. Okay, now I will take another brush, little one, and I'll take it into the darkest shade in the middle, this one here. Just add a wee bit more depth. I'm going to bring that into here as well. Because this is a smaller brush, I'm not too worried about it being messy, because I kind of want it to be a little messy, but not too messy, you know. And this is another reason why I don't really bother with concealer too often, because I like to bring my eyeshadow down quite far. It kind of covers up the areas that I would put the concealer in the first place, so I find like it's not really all that necessary. I'm just going in with the other brushes I use. This is the shade down from this. And then I'll go in with the other ones as well. So this was the lighter brown. I'm gonna use maybe I'll use this one. I haven't used that one before. Just going with my finger. Oh yeah, that's pretty. That's pretty. Now I'm just gonna go in with the darker brown. Just one of the blending brushes and just kind of blend that into the edges there. Then I will take maybe this one right in the middle here, just on the inner corner. My eye. There's not a huge difference between the two actually. It's not as different as I was expecting anyway. That's okay. I think they're very similar. And bring it into the inner corner and a little bit down the bottom as well. And I might just bring that up as well. If you want precision, like yeah, use a brush, but I like the messy shimmer thing. Now I'm actually gonna top that with, I might just use the one next to it. I think that's a little bit lighter, not by much though. See if it makes a difference. Not really. Oh well, still cute. And then I'll take the very darkest shimmer, that one, just on the like tip of my finger, just on the outer bit. And I'll take that brush again and just soften that. So it's like a bronzy, cute brown liner. This is just by Peaches and Cream. Right on my waterline and then just a little bit below. So it hides my lash line but also kind of blends in with the eyeshadow as well. This is darker and richer. It's a little bit warmer too. So I'm just gonna get a teeny tiny little brush if it wants to focus. Nope, okay. It's just a little one. Let's just smudge that liner out a bit. It's a bit darker on the bottom compared to the top, but with lashes it'll kind of balance out. Now I'm gonna do face. So I also have the Collab Face palette, which has the bronzers and the blush and the highlighter. I'm gonna use the bronzer. Use this bronzer and I'm gonna use the pink blush and I'm gonna use the lighter highlighter as well because the darker one is too dark for me. I can use both bronzer shades and both blush shades though, but yeah, the darker highlighter is too dark for me. I really like the formula of this palette, particularly the blushes, because I also I've got one of the heart blushes. It's very pigmented. Like you just need to breathe on it, and it's very pigmented. It's very difficult to work with. It blends fine, the color's beautiful, and I generally will like just kind of blend them together, use the pink and the orange side, but yeah, very, very pigmented. So if you're not like a heavy blush person like I am, this face palette is probably a better option for you. I'm not sure I know they have like a trio blush palette in a few different shades. I'm not sure what the formula of those are like, but I would imagine that they're probably more similar to this formula where it's a little bit less pigmented, but I'm not 100% sure. Can I just bring that up? Then if I get a little too messy, with bronzer, I do also have the contour part, so I can just take that kind of lighter shade, which I imagine this is what it's designed for, so that if you want to do that like really sculpted cut cheekbones kind of thing, you can do like the contour part and then you do this like underneath it to really highlight areas. But it's also decent for like cleaning up, kind of like the eyeshadow thing. But you don't need to use something like this. You can just use again like a powder foundation. And it's another one of those things that like it helps to kind of blend in the edges if you're a little bit too linear, you know. And because it is like a highlighting shade, you can kind of put it in areas you need a bit of brightening, or in this case a bit of mattifying because I'm very shiny right now because it's freaking hot. Yeah, so that's that one. I don't really do contour too often, so I'm not I can't really speak to the quality of it, but you know, it's from memory, it's pretty nice. I'm just gonna take that blush. Like these are still pigmented. You know, it's still a beautiful blush, like it blends effortlessly, it shows up, you know, it does what it needs to do, but it's not like the heart blushes. The heart blushes are insanely pigmented. Too pigmented perhaps for the average user, and you will probably never ever go through a whole pan if you don't use blush like I use blush a lot of the time. So I suppose it's definitely worth the cost. Get your money's worth for it. Pink nose. Okay, cute. Just go back in with the bronzer brush. Okay, do the highlighter. So as I said, I'm gonna do this one, this one, this one. This is the brush that I use for highlighting. little boop, boop. It's very icy. It's like a almost a silver champagne-y kind of color. I find if I get a little bit too heavy with it though, I get kind of a grey cast on my cheek, like front on. I don't know if you can see it this time. But yeah, sometimes if I don't have enough underneath it, like blush or bronzer, it can have that kind of cast to it. I might just do actually just a little pinky, that on my inner corner, the very inner corner, just to lighten that up a little bit. Yeah. And I'll take that up here as well. She's cute. She's cute. Okay, so that's face done. Getting a bit sweaty on my upper lip. Cute. I'm just gonna do my lashes and I will be right back. So another little thing that I do with my lashes, because sometimes the inner corner doesn't want to stick down where it's supposed to stick down, or if it's like a thick band, kind of like these ones, and you don't have it all the way in, you just get some liner, like a liquid, whatever eyeliner you use, as long as it's not water activated, because you're putting it right on your inner corner here. And obviously you don't want it to move when your eyes start getting a bit moist. And it kind of just disguises it a little bit more. I mean, obviously those don't look like my real lashes. Like, they don't look natural, but they look as natural as they can with just that little extra little bit, you know. These are the MILF lashes by Endless Lashes. Yeah, that's those. So I'm gonna do my lips. I've just got like a clear gloss on. Just gonna wipe that off. I was gonna do a bullet and like I'll do the bullet first and then do the liquid, like take it off and then put the liquid on, but I think I'm just gonna do the liquid. But I do want to show you these bullets. There's a little button on the top. I had a real kick out of this. Anyway, I'm not 9. This is the shade Date Night, and it's their new Intense Pigment Long Lasting Non-Transfer Eat and Drink Without Fear All Day Glamour Slay. It's not what it's called. It's called the Mattely Poppin'. They have weird names for stuff. Anyway. It's a little bit... I mean, I have worn this because I've taken swatch photos, but it's potentially a bit more orange than I was wanting. This is the foot on it. How do people do this? So it's kind of like curved on one side. Yeah, I don't know if that's showing at all. It's really cool though. It's like flat on the top and then it's kind of curved that way. And then it's got like that little dip on the inside to like hold the product. And as you can see, obviously very pigmented. And it's got a nice little point on it, so it makes getting precise lines pretty easy. In my I took swatch photos of all the lipsticks that I got. So I got like a brownie liquid as well, plus that one, and then I got the three bullets. So I did made a post on Instagram with swatches of all of them. And I did say in that one that these liquid lips have got the quickest dry down time that I've experienced personally. Like, these are already dry. Like, it's dry. Which is really cool. They are comfortable, because I hate the feeling of like stickiness. My lips sticking together while they're still drying, so like I don't have any of that now. It's completely dry. The bullets are extremely comfortable. I thought that they would be a matte just because the actual tube itself looks matte. It's really interesting, but they're not. It's like a natural satiny kind of finish. Very, very comfortable. You can't feel them. You can't feel them. It's great. But this is the finished look. Overall, like, this is not first impressions. I do really like Kimchi, obviously, otherwise I wouldn't have like a full face worth of products. It's certainly not all necessary. Like, if you don't have color and you want to try some color, like, get that. If you don't have a face palette and you're around my skin tone, this would be really nice. Like, it's a great formula. I like the shades. Like, you've got a variety there. I don't necessarily think that having the two bronzes is necessary. They are slightly different in tone, but like, they're interchangeable for me personally. And then obviously one of the highlighters doesn't work for me as a highlighter, but I could put it like on my eyes or whatever. The blush is beautiful. I use them all the time. But yeah, like, if you're darker than me, it's not going to work for you, which is really disappointing. And I wish that they would do more shades when they do stuff like this. Like, they have those new teddy bear palettes, and I think they have like blushes and highlighters in it as well or something, and they're not universal, you know. I don't know why brands continue to do blushes and highlighters in palettes but don't have options, especially when it's with eyeshadow. You have less ability to cater to different skin tones that way, because they don't want to go and put eyeshadows in 6 to 12 different variations of the same palette, you know, just to change out the blushes and the highlighters. Like, or the bronzes and stuff, you know, just have them separate. That's my opinion, but, you know, what do I know? I do look cute. I feel cute. I hope this shows on camera as nicely as it looks in person. Like, my skin, it's not a mask, you know, like, as I said, you can still see the redness from the pimples, and my texture's still there, and I look like me, just like cuter. But yeah, I hope that was helpful or entertaining, or I don't know, whatever. Thanks for watching if you did, and I will maybe post more videos in the future. I don't know, we'll see. Bye!